Welcome to Mamahood After Trauma, where we stop pretending and heal out loud. I'm Emily Cleghorn, trauma survivor, cycle breaker, and mama rebuilding from the inside out. If you're ready to break cycles, trust yourself again, and rise without shame, you're in the right place. Let's go. Before we dive in, mama, if you're a mama healing from trauma and trying to parent differently, but you're not sure what support or next step is right for you, I totally understand. And that's why I've created something to help. Take my free Find Your Next Step to Calm and Healing quiz to discover where you are in your healing journey and what your next best step looks like. You'll find the link in the show notes below. Hello, Mama, and welcome to this episode of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. I am thrilled that you have taken some time out of your busy mama schedule to tune in and listen to our conversation today. Today, I am joined by Amanda Scott. Welcome.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh,
And hello to all the listeners out there.
yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Um, so Amanda, let's get started. If you could introduce yourself a little bit to our listeners and share what you do and what brought you into the trauma recovery space.
Okay, well, I'm an author and I work with people who have experienced or they are experiencing abuse to gently heal what's been broken and make positive choices in their lives and rebuild that self-belief. I know about this through my own experience. After 17 years in an abusive marriage, I realized that I couldn't do it anymore, that I deserved to be treated with dignity and respect, and I wanted a better life for myself, and I wanted it for my children as well. So
Mhm.
that's why I captured my experience in a book called Finding My Way Back to Me. And I wanted to share my story because I believe we all deserve the opportunity to
Mhm.
heal and move on from an abusive relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Healing can feel like an impossible thing, but it is so
Mm,
possible. It takes a little bit of grit, a little bit of
yeah.
determination, but it is totally possible. So, um, tell us about your book.
Okay. Well, the book is really, it's about, you know, a, as I said, I stayed in a marriage for 17 years.
Mhm.
But for the longest time, I didn't realize what I was living with was abuse. Because
Mhm.
abuse takes on many forms
Yes, it
and
does.
it's often hidden, whether it's
Mhm.
emotional or physical or financial or
Mhm.
sexual or even spiritual. It
Mhm.
creates a feeling of shame in the abuse that keep them stuck. And nobody wants to feel unloved and
Mhm.
uncared for. So what happens is we make excuses for our partner's behavior
Mhm.
rather than accept the truth that we are being abused. So that's why I want to shine more light on this area. The financial, the emotional abuse, the hidden abuse. Yeah, because it's not always bruises and broken bones.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's the silence, it's a
Mhm.
manipulation, it's that constant walking on eggshells. And sometimes that's the hardest to name and heal from.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's hidden and you don't recognize that it is abuse, it's hard
Mm.
to name it. So, what was your journey like in finding that light bulb moment, so to speak?
Well, I think it was, for some. people, that turning point comes,
Mhm.
when the physical violence arrives, as I said. But for some people, it's that quiet moment, that a slow realization that this is not love and this is not life. And I think it happened with me. The first time that happened is when I came back from the park. And I didn't often go to the park. And I was out there with a girlfriend. Well, yes, a friend that I just met. And we're out at the park. And I came back and I had 12 missed calls, all from my husband. So I was terrified. I wondered what had happened, what had happened. I thought something bad had happened. So I called. Where have you been? Why haven't you been answering your phone? You have a phone, pick it up. I've been waiting here for my lunch.
Oh.
So this was one of the things that I thought, wow, this is not love. So from 1 minute, I was joyful to the
Mhm.
next, I was in tears.
Mhm.
And this is the power and the control that someone can take, from your emotions and your life. So this is one sort of part, that sort of cracked open that door to, wow, this isn't right. Um, but I think even then, looking back then, I still doubted myself.
Mhm.
I still said, well, yeah, maybe I should have been at home. What am I doing walking? I shouldn't have come walking. I should have been back making his lunch.
Mhm.
Um, so it takes a while before and that's the thing, because one of the hardest steps and the most powerful steps a woman can take is to admit and acknowledge that she is in an abusive relationship.
Mhm.
And it might sound simple to somebody on the outside, but
Yeah.
when you're living in it, it's one of the hardest truths to face. So
Mhm.
I think the first step is that acknowledgement, acknowledging and saying yes, and allowing yourself to tell the truth about what you are experiencing, but
Mhm.
not in a judging, just simply clearly see it as it is. And that's a very powerful step. And one of the hardest steps, I think. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too. So, what are some warning signs that a mama listening may be experiencing, but she doesn't recognize that it's abuse? Maybe because it's been her normal. She grew up in abuse, and so
Yeah.
it's her normal.
Absolutely. Yes, a lot happens from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, some of the warning signs are not exactly the same, but they broadly present as
Yeah.
a total lack of power in the situation where the other partner has all the control. So
Mm-hmm.
I think if you looked in my situation, you would have said, well, you're never treated as an equal and your opinion doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
You are shamed regularly, and you're told that you're stupid and a bad mother. You are made to feel as though everything is your fault. I think another one is that you uh, denied access to friends
Mm-hmm.
and shame for having anybody, outside the house come. And you have to ask for money, and that's a big thing, having to ask for money, not having any financial control or financial independence.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to ask for every cent, which means you can be cut off and left with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another thing is that, you do everything around the house, you look after the children, manage the house, and you even sometimes have a part-time job, and you're still told that you don't contribute.
Mm-hmm.
So really, basically, you have the lowest status in the house behind the children and the dog. And I think what happens is, we get to that stage because we convince ourselves that our needs come last,
Mm-hmm.
and when we do that, we're more loving, we're more loyal, and we're more good, but we're not. We become more lost.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about yes, knowing that you are important. You deserve to be treated with respect and dignity.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, that is, important because, the truth is that you don't need anybody else's permission to call it abuse. If it feels
Absolutely.
wrong, if it feels wrong, and if you feel small, trapped,
Mm-hmm.
silenced, or actually constantly questioning your worth and walking on eggshells, that is enough. You don't have to wait for it to get worse. You don't have to
Yeah.
wait for this physical violence. You don't need to wait for that. If you are made to feel small, that is enough. And your feelings are valid and your pain is real.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really coming out and shining more light on this issue of the emotional and the financial abuse. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the financial abuse. Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by The Rising Room. Hey, Mama, did you know the Mamahood After Trauma podcast is more than just something you listen to? Every week, we have conversations about trauma healing, triggers, emotional regulation, and breaking generational cycles. But I know listening is only one part of the journey. That's why I've created the Rising Room. It's a space where you can go deeper with the podcast through reflection prompts, monthly resources, and support designed to help you take what you're learning and apply it to your own healing journey. And if you're ready for deeper support, the regulation pathway gives you a guided next step to understand your triggers, regulate your nervous system, and begin creating more peace in your mamahood. You can learn more and find out your next step through the link in the show notes. Now let's get back to our episode. So, what was what was the first step you took after you made that realization that your
Well,
marriage was abusive?
yeah, well, you see, yeah, and as I said, in my case, abuse happens slowly, and this is what
Mm-hmm.
happens. It happens slowly. It starts out as one incident of disrespect, and it becomes two and three until eventually it becomes the way I lived. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're told you're stupid, you start to believe that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think the first step is our recognition. Because, when I look back, I think, did I accept that day to day reality back then? You know,
Mm-hmm.
the, the short answer is because abuse took control over my world. I had no longer a reference point to be treated with dignity and respect. It became my new normal. It was normal to be yelled at, normal to be told I was stupid, and
Mm-hmm.
normal not to make any decisions. But when you look at the deeper answer to that, why I tolerated it, it was because I had grown to believe that I deserved to be treated that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think really when you move on that time when that's slow realization, and it happens different for every woman, there's no same path here, you know what I mean? It happens at different times, and it's all good. Yeah. And every woman deserves to be treated um with respect,
Mm-hmm.
deserves to be feel comfortable in her own skin,
Yeah.
and to live life like it feels like hers, not to be shaped by fear and guilt and survival. Um, so, I think, the best thing. the first thing is I'm recognizing that this is not life. This is not love.
Mm.
And, you know, the most important thing for me was to maintain those friendship. I only had one friend, but she was a backbone to my path forward.
Wow, that's
And
powerful.
yeah, because without friends, the only voice you have in your ear is your, you know, husband, ex-husband telling you what to do, and or partner telling you what to do. So I think it's critical to have at least one friend who knows about your situation
Mm-hmm.
and is helping you to find solutions to your living situations. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what happens when the start of it, the start isn't when you end the abuse. The start is as you're going through the abuse.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it might not look, you might not be able to see it from the outside, but it's internal.
Mm-hmm.
It's when something registers in you and says, no, this doesn't feel right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And once you notice those signs, that is the start of it. Yeah. Because you might not be able to do sudden, big, major action at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
because it might feel unsafe, but at least you're internally, it's building, it's getting you ready. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't need to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
You just need to make a decision.
Yeah.
And you might not have all the answers, and you might not be ready to take the next step. But by simply acknowledging it, it cracks open that door to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the journey back to you begins.
Yeah.
Because you have support. Support will come in. When you say, yes, I've made a decision, this is not love, this is not life, then support comes in to help you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's one thing that you would like a mama listening to take with her today?
Well, first, I think this is clarity.
Mm-hmm.
What is a healthy relationship? Let's just get that clear. We need to have that clarity because some of us we're not sure because we've never been in it.
Mm-hmm.
But a healthy relationship is a place of safety.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place of love. It's a place of respect, and it's mutual growth.
Yeah.
But when you've got abuse present, whether that's emotional, financial, or spiritual, or sexual, it strips away at those foundations and leaves you living in survival.
Mm-hmm.
So without that healthy love, your health suffers
Yeah.
because you're lost. You're silencing. You're trying to keep the peace. When you
Mm-hmm.
want peace, keeping the peace isn't peace
No, it's not.
because it's silence
Mm-hmm.
and it's losing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a healthy relationship, I'd like to say, in a healthy relationship, there is freedom. You can actually speak your truth.
Yeah.
You can make mistakes and you can set boundaries and you can still be loved.
Mm-hmm.
And one big thing is respect is not negotiable. It is the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you see, in abuse, that control replaces respect. Instead of safety, you feel fear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of growth, you shrink and you second guess yourself. You're walking on eggshells and
Mm-hmm.
you abandon your needs to keep the peace.
Yeah.
So it's having clarity. This is what it is. So when you know what it is, they say, no, make a decision that you deserve a different life and do whatever it takes to make that happen. And that means finding that piece of you that still has dreams for a good life and wants to leave more than you want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, don't tell yourself you'll stay for the children, because what we teach our children in that situation is that love equals abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my primary motivations for leaving the marriage was to show my children the importance of self-respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful and really
So
important.
absolutely. Absolutely. If that's going to be one of your driving forces, let that be the children. Don't show them that's love, and because it's not. That is not love. That is not life.
No.
But they don't know any difference. They see that
Mhm.
in the eyes of love. But that's not
Yeah.
love. Respect is love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can our listeners connect with you further if they'd like to do so?
Well, my website, amandajscott.com. This is where there's blog updates if you want any information or anything that would help you. The book's on there. That's on all platforms. And it's a quick, very easy read, but it's a powerful reminder that we all deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. And they can email me. And I'll personally send them, you know, any support. If they need support here, that's what I'm here for. I mean,
Mm.
I've been through it. I know how hard it is to get through it. And I know it's important to be with amongst people that have already walked that path.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Amanda, for being on the show today and sharing your story and your bravery and authenticity are huge. They're massive. Thank you so much.
lovely. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you, listeners. Yeah, I think if you're going through it yourself or you know somebody, just, reach out. You can do it. There is a lot of support out there, from
Mhm.
counselors to women's shelters to people who have walked this path like me, and we're all there helping you. The first step is just making that decision. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and then you don't need it all figured out. It'll just come together. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to follow the podcast so new episodes land right in your feed each week. And if you're wondering what your next step toward calmer, more confident motherhood looks like, take my free Find Your Next Step to Calm and Confidence quiz found in the show notes below. Until next time, Mama, mend the past so you can mama in peace.